Good morning. I'm Amy Slaughter-Myers, the Vicar for Mission at St. Francis Episcopal Parish and Community Center. I am in the car this morning waiting for one of my children to come outside so I can drive them to school. I was thinking about that, and maybe you do lots of things for people that are close to you. Children, family members, friends. And a lot of times it's a joy to do things for other people. And a lot of times it's a great act of generosity to do things for other people, to make food for someone, to alleviate the pain by giving medicine to someone who is suffering, or by giving rent money to somebody who's about to be evicted, or basically doing for people. It's an act of generosity and charity, and isn't that what we're called to do? The Anglican priest Sam Wells wrote an article a couple of years ago, and in the article he talks about doing for, and he contrasts that with being with. Wells says that the most important word in the Bible is not for, but it's actually with. And that God's promise is not to do for us, to do for you, to do for me, to do for someone else, but God's promise is that God will be with us until the end of the age, and that is the good news of the incarnation, is this radical, intense with. One of the things that I have observed, and Wells touches on it in his article, is that it's so much easier to do for someone than it is to be with someone. It's so much easier. It's so much easier to think of myself, I know for me, and maybe for you too, to think of myself as being able to solve a problem for somebody. It's so much easier to think that if I just do something for someone, that pain and that loneliness and that alienation and that isolation that we are all suffering from will go away. It's so hard to be with. Several years ago, I served in a church where a woman in our wider community would come by the church several times a week. And she was a person, I'll call her Joanne. She had a lot of challenges in her life and a lot of struggles. She would come with her older son, who was about 4, and he was always ravenously hungry. And, being church before COVID, we always had food that he could eat, and she would decline it, but accept it for her son. She was married to a man who had a lot of talent, and he would get these great jobs, and then he, for many reasons, would lose these great jobs too. So there was a lot of financial instability in her life. Her second child was born with a rare genetic condition, and this baby was in and out of Johns Hopkins Children's Center. And she would come by when things were going well in her life, and she would come by when things were not going well in her life. And I could feel welling up in me wanting to do for her, right? Like I wanted to give her food or give her son food. I wanted to call everybody I knew at Johns Hopkins Hospital to check on her baby's condition and to see if I could get the best care for her baby. And I often think about her, and I think about how really what perhaps she wanted more than anything was just to be with me, to be with us at church, to not fix anything, to not solve anything, to just be together with her. I wonder how you hear that today. I wonder how you think about yourself and what you need. People are not problems to be solved. People are not a list of needs to be filled. The Bible teaches us that people are all bearers of the divine image, and we are all made for relationship with God and with one another. Amen.